Hello, I am Catherine. As you know, I make videos in English, German and Greek. You find them in my website. I write always in the information, and in my other channel, Makt Jesu. As you know, I make videos and I speak a lot about end time because you see the situation in the world, you see the confusion and everything, the confusion, the chaos will take over. We will have a really collapse of society in the West, in the other parts of the world. They have these problems forever, but now is the time of the West. And you know, in our countries, in Europe, every day we have knife attacks. Every day they find people killed or slaughtered or whatever, raped. Most of the media don't speak about that. But what is happening now, it's the funny thing is, in England, but also in Germany, in other countries of Europe, some people go to the streets because the Muslims are going to the streets every Saturday or what. And they say they go for Gaza, but they don't go for Gaza, because if they really are for Gaza, they will go out for Yemen, they will go out for Sudan, they will go out for Iran when the government kills their own people, they will go out for the women in Afghanistan when the Taliban want burqa and don't allow the girls to go to the school. They will go out for Rohingyas in Bangladesh or for Uyghurs in China, but they don't do that. They go out for Gaza because Israel is involved in this conflict, because they want the elimination of Israel. And I have a lot of videos about Israel. If you give the word, you find a lot of videos. I explain who are the true Palestinians, the Jewish people, and who are the fake Palestinians. And the people who go to the streets and cry out, and the Palestinians are fake Palestinians. The UN and the British mandate created in 1946 a new Arabic Islamic state with 77% of the country of Israel, but the Caesar of Rome called Israel Palestine. He changed the name, so the Jews are the Palestinians, but the UN created a new Arabic state with the soil, with the land, 77%, which was called Israel, and then Palestine. They created Jordan, the state of Jordan. And you see the flag of Jordan in the hands of the terrorists or the sympathizers of terrorists in our streets. So, but the good thing, the funny thing is, some English people, Irish people, German people, or others remember suddenly, because the Muslims want caliphate, Sharia, they wanted the destruction of the West, it is clear. And they will not give up until the West is destroyed, until the West is like Syria, Libya, whatever. And this is the goal. Islam, it's not about Palestinians. In Islam, it's about the destruction of Israel. This hate of Edom. And I spoke a lot in the last 3 videos, and we will continue today. The good thing is some people in Europe go out and say, we are Christians and our countries are Christians and this and that. Since when did you remember that you are a Christian or that your country is Christian? You said you don't believe in God. You said you don't want Jesus Christ. So you see, it needs problems, it needs suffering that some people remembered that our countries has Judeo-Christians roots. In my country, people are too proud to say we are a Christian country. No, we are atheistic countries. And we must come back to Jesus Christ. Another way, the devil will destroy our countries. So the other thing, many people don't understand what is going on, what President Trump is doing. I was the only one, or one of few in Europe, in German-speaking place, between the Christians, the world, it's clear, between the Christians who warned, because I had dreams about President Trump, and quickly I tell you, the first was I saw him as a black lion. He attacked me with big fury. The next dream in the same night was I saw him with a woman. I don't know who was the woman, but I knew they are traitors. I think you say traitors. They sold to them and their countries, the country. And in the third dream, I was very tired. It was some hours before the election in America. And I said, God, I want to sleep, but if you want, show me who will become president. And I saw Trump, but on the floor dead. So I don't know. Some things will happen. We will see what is going on. President Trump knows what he's doing, but the people around him or the people in other countries, like in Europe, they don't understand what he's doing. He prepares the way for the new world order. He will destroy everything to bring the new world order. And this is, we speak about this for years now. And the politicians speak about this for years now, that we need a new world order. And the Christians know what does it mean. Absolute control, the time of the Antichrist, of the world dictator. I don't believe that Trump is the Antichrist. Why? I believe he prepares the way. Why? Because could he be absolute? He has the character for this. Also Obama, Macron. But as I understand the Bible until now, the Antichrist will come out, will be Gog of the land of Magog. And Magog is in the north, north of Turkey, north of the part north of Turkey, I mean south Russia, the Scythians. The Scythians were the people in the land of Magog. And it's clear Gog is the Antichrist. So it has more to do with Russia, Turkey than with Trump or Obama. But we will see, because people are so mixed today, you never know. So I explained last time about Edom, and I explained in my last 3 videos. I recommend you to look them, to listen. Rebecca, the wife of Isaac, receives twins, and God says you have 2 nations in your body. They represent 2 nations, and they will be always against each other. And God says in the Bible, I hate Esau, I hate Edom, but I love Jacob. And Jacob is the father. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob are the founders of the state of Israel. So Edom was why God said he hated Edom, because he said, Edom, Esau, you have a perpetual hate against your brother Jacob. And he explains more things. And you want to take his land away. You want that nobody remembers the name of Israel. And we saw in the Psalm 83, in the Psalm 137, etc. But we don't know the whole story, because the Bible can't have everything. In other way, it will be very thick and you can't carry it. But there are other books who help us with more details. For example, the book of Jasher. And the book of Jasher is a big help to understand what happened in the time of Abraham until Joshua and so on, a lot of things. We saw that Esau, Edom, had children. The sons of Esau were where is it? Eliphaz, Yeus, Yalam, Korah, etc. But Eliphaz had also sons, the grandsons of Edom. Teman, Omar, Teman is today Yemen, Omar, perhaps Oman, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. And of course Amalek with another woman. And we saw that in the last or before video. Zepho, we never hear anything about Zepho, only once we see his name, and then you don't hear about him. What happened? We know Joseph was sold to Egypt. He became the second after Pharaoh, and he brought his father Jacob, all the tribes of Israel, because of famine, to Egypt. But after 17 years or what in Egypt, Jacob died. And Joseph and all the tribes of Israel who are in Egypt go to Canaan. Canaan became then Israel, to bury the body of Jacob. But we read in Genesis, in the end of Genesis 50, they came, the sons, the grandsons, etc., with the Egyptians, and they carried him, Jacob to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field at Machpelah, to the east of Mamre, Hebron, which Abraham bought with a field from Ephron the Hittite to possess as a burying place. After he had buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt with his brothers and all who had gone up with him to bury his father. So they say us, Joseph came and the 12 tribes of Israel to bury the body of Jacob, but they don't tell us the whole story. And now we see in the book of Jasher, I will put in the information, it is from Christopher Glenn. He brings a lot of books in audio, you can hear. In chapter 56, 57, we see when Joseph came and the Israelis and the Egyptians, Esau, Edom, is coming to Hebron. And there is a fight. Esau, Edom, doesn't want this perpetual hate. Doesn't want that Jacob is buried in the same place with Abraham, Sarah, Leah, Isaac, and Leah. Yeah, Rebecca was other were buried in near Ephrata in Bethlehem, and so there is a fight. Esau brings an army. They don't want to allow the Israelis to bury the body of Jacob. So there is a fight. Somebody from the Israelis, the son of Naphtali or so, they kill Esau. Joseph and the Egyptians, the Israelis and the Egyptians go back to Egypt. On the way back to Egypt is Zepho, the Eliphaz, all these sons and grandsons of Edom attack again Joseph and the Egyptians, but they are defeated. So Joseph takes Zepho as prisoner to Egypt. We know from Jasher, as I said, in chapter 57, 58, 60, etc., 60, 61, it's very interesting, you must read it. Joseph became himself Pharaoh in Egypt for many years until he died. The Pharaoh Magron, he was, I think, young, and he made Joseph to Pharaoh. So it was a good time for the Israelis, and Zepho was in prison. But when Joseph died, after 71 years in Egypt, Zepho is coming out of prison and flee to another place. And we know after Joseph died came another Pharaoh, an Egyptian, and he persecuted and made the Israelis slaves. Yet, now, excuse me, Zepho is going to Carthago. Carthago is a place near Egypt. You can say Libya, Tunis, and it's a very famous name, Carthage, because they had war with Rome. Hannibal of Carthage, or I don't know in English, Carthage, or how you say. Who was king in Carthage? Do you remember the war in Troy? A prince of Troy, Aeneas, Gesher calls him Engias, but it is Aeneas. He went to Carthago with some Trojans, and he became king of Africa. They say king of Africa, but it is this small place, Carthage, in the north of Africa, near Egypt. So Sappho is coming to the king Aeneas, and he become a general, he leads wars, etc. for them. He is very good warrior, but his goal is the hate against the Israelis in Egypt. He wants to destroy them, and he tried many times to bring Aeneas to make war against the Israelis in Egypt. But Aeneas doesn't want, because he saw how Joseph and the Israelis fought against the Edomites. So he doesn't want. So Sappho leaves Carthago and goes to Chittim. Chittim is a name, an old name for Cyprus, but under this word they also called for other islands in the middle Mediterranean and Italy. So he's first in Cyprus, he becomes the king, he leads wars, etc. But the time is coming, he leaves Cyprus and goes to Italy. Italy, do you remember in my video about Antiochus Epiphanes, the prototype of Antichrist? When Antiochus Epiphanes, but also his brother or father, made wars against Egypt, 2 times it is written that another power came, ships from Shittim, and stopped him and sent him back to Syria. Who were these ships? Romans. So Romans doesn't exist since 2000 years. They existed long before. Italy is not yet the Roman Empire. Grandsons of Tubal. Tubal was the grandson of Noah. They are coming to Italy in the south. The Sabines. They were called the Sabines. Some other people were already in Italy. But because they were few people and the land was empty, so the people who had the say, they called people of the world to come to Italy. And they said, even if you are criminal, come here. If you don't do anything bad here, evil, then you will have the rights of the country. You will become one of us. So many criminals came to Italy. Can you see something? It's like today. It's like today. They opened the doors and called everybody to come, even criminals. So they came. But these criminals began to rape, to take away the daughters of the people of the Sabines, of the people of Tubal. So the people of Sabines made war against the others for their daughters. But the time came when the others said to the Sabines, if you continue to fight, we will put on the front your children and grandchildren. You fight finally against your own people. So the Tubal people, the Sabines, stopped to war against Italy, against Rome. What happened? Zepho came, and he became the first. There is, some people say there was somebody else before, but Zepho is the first or the second of the kings of Italy. There was not yet the big empire. He became the king of Italy. He reigns 50 years. You must understand, an Edomite became the king of Italy and the founder of Rome. There are people, if you go to Wikipedia, etc., they will tell you that Remus and Romulus, two children who were in the forest with a wolf. Oh, how do you say wolf? Wolf? You say the same? Wolf. Good. And nurture, I think you'd say nurture. The wolf nurtured the children, they say. But Zepho was the king of Italy. We speak about the year 2317. He reigned for 50 years until the year 2367. But you know, the name Zepho means wolf. So I can imagine that some people didn't want to bring together the name Rome and Zepho, Edom. The next king of Italy was Janneas. You know the name January, it comes from this name. The third was Latanus, another king was Abianus, another king was Latinus, another Latinus, Latin. So you see, they have the names of the kings. And the first capital city of Italy was Alba. Rome became, after Latinus, the capital city of the Roman Empire of Italy in 2855. And you know, we have the name Augustus, August, July. All these are names of the Caesars of Rome. So Zepho, Edom, and Rome goes together. And we know that Rome was very anti-Christian. You know that in Rome was the Colosseum. Many tourists go to visit the Colosseum and other places. But in these places, many Jews and Christians were killed in a cruel way. I can remember in the New Testament, Paul met a couple, I forgot the names, and they were Jews from Rome, and they flew. They had to flee. They had to leave Rome because the Caesar forbid Jewish people to be in Rome. So Rome was very anti-Christian, very anti-Semitic. No wonder if Edom was one of the first kings of Italy. And finally, he made Italy, he began to make the kingdom. Do you remember I spoke before about Aeneas, the king of Carthage? He came from Troya. You say Troya or Troy. Do you remember why? Do you know why we say Paris, the capital city of France? Paris. Where is this name coming? From Paris. Paris was a prince of Troya. So these people went from Troya to France. The third in Carthago, after Aeneas, was his son, and the grandson was the Hannibal. The son or grandson of Aeneas went to England, and he founded the land of England. And the first name of London was the New Troy. Do you see? Somebody said you can't tell people to read the book of Jasher and the Apocrypha and so Apocrypha. But I read Enoch, Jasher, to the second book of Esdra. I don't know if I read the first one. And what else? Jubilee, I must read again. I can tell you they are so good, you profit from them, and a Christian must read first the Bible. You must know the Bible very good. Then, if you read a book and it contradicts the Bible, then you can put it away. You can put the book put away. If something contradicts the Bible, you don't have to accept it. It's very simple. But the problem is most Christians don't read the Bible, don't know the Bible, so they don't have the spirit of discernment. This is the problem. So prepare, we are in a very serious time. We will see some things more, and then I hope to close this chapter, Edom. Goodbye, God bless you.